why is it important to have an Olympic sport program at your NCAA university? Well, the fact that an athlete can train and simultaneously get an education is what sets the US system apart from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
That's why we have people from the world flocking to the United States to train at the best universities to get the best coaching and getting some of the best education that's out there to offer. On top of that, if you are an American swimmer, the US government does not fund the Olympic movement in any way.
Yeah, which is a whole nother...
And we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's just the fact. You know, like it is one of the only pretty much full Olympic movement systems that does not receive federal funding.
Yes.
Therefore, neither does the USOPC. Therefore, if we are cutting Olympic sports from the NCAA, then that's when the trickle-down effect starts, because the chain is broken in terms of like, okay, so we start club swimming.
Yeah.
On our club, and then we have like to look forward to college. And by the way, this is only Division I that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Then you have the dream of swimming in college, but if that's not an option, why would you keep swimming?
Why would you? And I mean, if you talk to so many, you know, when Todd and I go around to these swim teams and you talk to the, you know, the 9 and 10-year-olds, it's either I want to swim in college or I want to go to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And if the I want to swim in college goal is wiped out, why would they start to begin with?
And this is where the chain is broken, and this is where the huge problem lies.
Yeah.
That is where our sport starts to be in real danger. Because then people won't swim. And then people won't care, and they won't swim, and the Olympics will become less competitive, and the sport dies.
Yeah, which is terrifying to even think about. Like us doing this research, when you really break it down and spiral downward and start at the very beginning of where swimming starts, it breaks my heart.
Yeah, this is like, I hate to sound so dramatic, but this is not something any of us should be taking lightly.
Yeah.
And this is just the state of where we're at now. Like, do we then, let's say NCAA swimming is eradicated and there are no more swim teams within the NCAA. Do we then have like a club team, or what you were saying, how football has a practice squad?
Yeah, I mean, the landscape, we'll have to pivot quickly, but I do think there could be a world where it just becomes the next, well, this is a perfect segue into talking about utilizing NIL deals and, you know, helping people get paid, but maybe it becomes you swim in high school and then you turn professional.
Right.
The question is, I mean, and then the only issue there is you're on your own for college, right? You're on your own for getting an education. But if you're good enough and you're able to utilize social media and get NIL deals, then, I mean, that's technically what I did. Like, my sponsor paid for my schooling. I turned professional and I continued swimming, and I was a part of a club team. And maybe, you know, right now when you go to nationals or world championship trials or Olympic trials, no one really cares about the team scoring, I would say, in that type of setting. But maybe that becomes more prominent. And there is, a Carmel Swim Club goes against Mission Viejo, and like it becomes a bigger deal. Maybe that's what happens. But I do think I am a little relieved now to see the way that, now that I understand it, the way that the NIL deals will then be executed, assuming everything is approved.
And that's where it's tricky. So all of these NIL deals, anything over $600 will need to go through a clearinghouse, and that needs to be approved by said board of people. And that hasn't been publicly announced, but there are a few athletic directors from A&M, Clemson, Ohio State that are currently a part of it. But this is where it's interesting too, because then this clearinghouse is now determining what said athlete is worth.
But so at first I was so angry when I saw this, but I do agree. Who's to say who is allowed to determine your value? However, now how I understand it is it's more around, like right now, it's just boosters or someone saying, hey, Elizabeth, here's $1 million to come swim for us. Let's be clear. This is not in swimming. This is mainly in football and basketball.
I'd say, where is it? I'll be there. I'm on my way.
But that is literally what is happening. Give an 18-year-old $1 million and say, go here. And he says, how high? Where do I jump off the cliff?
Yeah.
Where's my money? And it people find that upsetting. But if you put yourself in the 18-year-old shoes, that's life-changing money for anyone.
Yeah.
It sounds like now it's not going to be a pay-for-play structure. It's more, because giving someone $1 million just to go play somewhere is not paying for their name, image, likeness. It's basically just a bribe.
It's pay for play.
A legal bribe to have them come. But now it sounds like it'll be, okay, Coca-Cola is like, hey, you do 10 ads for us, an Instagram reel, and whatever, all these deliverables, and then we'll give you $500,000. It doesn't sound like, and we'll see, there's someone sitting there being like, actually, it should be $250,000.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Hope so.
I hope.
Yeah.
So that seems like that's a little bit of like what you were saying, like that's lassoing in the Pandora's box a little bit, because Todd was saying this, there could be someone playing before the national championship, whether it's in March Madness in basketball or football, and have someone contact them saying, hey, here's $5 million, leave your team right before the national championship. And that's legal right now.
And we'll give you $5 million.
Which is so messed up.
So that's where I think contracts will help these programs and help have more of a symbiotic culture. You know, I one thing that I've noticed is just the transfer portal is wild.
It's like a tornado.
Because of that, though. And like, can you blame the athletes for following the money? No. Like, you got to strike while the iron's hot. And if money is your main motivator and there's enough dangled in front of your face, you're going to bite.
Yeah.
And that is nothing to be shamed for.
No.
But I think that has created this wild, wild west that we are now trying to kind of like pull the reins in on. But it's, again, very dangerous times for swimming because we have, and again, this is all speculation. Nothing has really happened yet, but by just using common sense, you can kind of see where this is going. And if I am an athletic director, I'm going to make really tough decisions.
Yeah.
On the resources that I have, the $20.5 million that I have to spend on athletes. And I will probably want to spend that money on the athletes that will make me money.
Yeah.
It's sadly now a business decision.
It's a business, yeah.
It's not personal. And so it kind of goes back to the question is like, what does swimming and diving and gymnastics and track and field and wrestling and all these Olympic sports, what is the value that they are bringing to campus? How can we prove that they deserve to be on campus? And I love it's an amazing idea to have X amount of Olympic sport athletes or sports on campus.